Adam. Okay, Adam or Adamu. Welcome to Ignite the Spark, Adamu, and we talk about just life in general and exposing the dark and things of that nature. And I happened to see this topic called government conspiracies. So I had to click on it. I do, and so I wanted to know before we get started. Are you a podcaster or where are you located at the moment?
Yes, Sparks. I'm a podcaster. I'm currently located in the United States, and I run the Nigeria Freedom Radio, which is the title of my podcast.
Okay. And do you have a website that people can find you at?
Absolutely. Once you go to my profile, you would see my website.
Okay. Thank you. I'll make sure I leave a link or something in the description so that followers can check your website out if they choose to do so. I would like to ask you a couple of questions. Is this title, the government conspiracy, is this the topic that you made up or did you just happen to pop up in here?
Well, I wonder why I must have, the one I had was government is bad. So I think that was, government conspiracy was one of the options. I must have clicked it by mistake. But yes, it's government is bad.
Okay,
So I'm
government is
saying
bad.
government is bad. And if you agree with me, then we can choose another topic. If you don't, then we can talk. You can try to convince me basically that government is good.
Okay. Well, I will definitely try to convince you that government is good, but I'm going to come from a different angle on that. So before I address that government is good, I would like to hear your points of views on why you think government is bad.
Yeah, absolutely, Sparks. Well, government is bad because it's immoral. Immoral means if I do anything to you, maybe ask you for money, take your money, anything of you that I want to do, I need to ask you for permission. And if you don't give me your permission, that is immoral. So let's say, for example, taxes. Now, if you go to Walmart to buy, let's say, a milk, and you go to the counter and you say, you know what, today I don't want to pay the 7% tax or 8% sales tax. You go, you're going to go to prison. You're either going to die or go to prison. You don't have a choice. So that makes it immoral. So whether or not I liked it, I have to pay that tax. Nobody asked me. Nobody
Okay.
sought my consent. So that was makes government immoral. Anything government does, there are people that don't like it, but they still have to pay, or their life have to be regulated.
Okay.
So
Okay.
anything that anyone don't seek your consent is immoral, is bad. So that's my argument.
Okay, I can understand that argument, and to tell you the truth, I do. I actually can agree with you as far as taking taxes without permission. I can agree with that. But what I said I was gonna disagree with you as far as saying government is bad is because government doesn't create itself. In order for a government to form, people have to come together to create a government. So in reality, the government is just the DBA, the business name. But in reality, they are really the government. And the reason why a government is bad, so to speak, is because really the people are bad. I hate to say it that way, but if the people actually did their jobs and monitored the government instead of just putting people in place and then just waiting 4 to 8 years later. I don't, 4 to 8 years to vote every 4 to 8 years. If they're just voting every 4 to 8 years without monitoring that vote to make sure that the person they gave it to is doing what they're supposed to be doing, then you can come across immoral situation. Because I kind of, like I said, I definitely agree with you on the taxes part of it. And the reason I say that is because I don't really agree with going to fight someone or killing someone I haven't even sat across the table with yet. I haven't even spoke with you. I don't even know what your face looks like, so I don't agree with killing you. And by the fact, what you're saying, by the fact that you pay taxes without permission, those taxes are being used to create weapons and also used to fund wars, which you are is a coercion for you to be a take part of it because your money is funding the action. So that's why I said I can agree with you, but I can also disagree with you.
All right, Spark. So let me ask you this: what kind of taxes, if any, would you allow to take place in government? Would you allow any taxes or no taxes? And if yes, what do you want to fund with the taxes?
Okay, that's a fair question. That's a fair question. I do. Actually, I do. If you want to be a part of a culture or society, then I would say, then yes, you do have to, do your part. You don't want to go into a person's home and like you don't want to visit a person's home and stay there for a whole year and never help take out the trash, never wash dishes, never help cook, never help clean up because you're where you're welcome out. So if you're going to be a part of society or culture, then yes, tax is needed because we all come together to live in one environment. And so the taxes, I feel that personally that a person should have an option on what their taxes are used on. If you don't want to fund war, there are some people who are just military minded. So they have no problem funding a war. You know what I mean? But there's other people who would like to put their money toward infrastructure or into education. And there's so many people in the culture that you can actually give these people these options and still have enough money to function as a society. So, I would say to use the money, and the money could still be used the same as it is now, minus the back door loops and the little black holes that no one knows about that's been funded. Minus those, I would say to keep taxes all the same, but just monitor them more and give people the option to say where they don't want their money to go.
So Sparks, because the reason I'm asking is I want you to give me example of one item because I want to use that example to ask you further questions. So pick an item. Okay. Road, what kind of thing do you want to fund if you are to fund government? Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be in the community, if you're going to be in culture and you drive a car, then your taxes should be used to pay for roads and for roads to be fixed or built. If you feel like you should drive a car, then you should also help pay for the road.
Okay. So, would you, Spark, like I respect you want to use your money to build road. Would you give me that same respect if I say I'm not going to use your road ever and I want to keep my money? Would you give me the same respect I give you to use your money the way you want it? Or would you force me to still pay?
If you're going to say, if we're going to live, let's say we live in a neighborhood. The neighborhood has 4 roads. If you're going to tell me, well, Jay, I'm not going to drive on this one road. I'm only going to take 3 roads. I will never drive on this one road, so I don't want to pay, any money to get this road fixed. I would say that's fair. If you're not going to use it, you don't have to pay. But as soon as you use it, you will have to pay. So that's a fair thing. I wouldn't force you to pay for something you're not using. That's immoral. It goes against your free will. I'm imposing see, that's the thing about what you're talking about. We all are supposed to have free will, and we all do. But the problem is when your free will imposes against my free will, then we have an issue. If you're telling me I have to, if I'm telling you you have to pay, and you don't want to, because you're not using something, I'm going against your free will, and that's basically going against the order.
Okay, so you would allow me to keep my money. Is that what you are saying? You wouldn't force me to pay for what I don't want to use, right?
Correct.
So what about if I say I do not want to use anything that you bring to sell to me to ask me to pay? So I don't want to use your road. I don't want to use your hospital. I want to provide my own. Would you allow me? Would you respect me to keep my money and not use your stuff?
Where would you be living? where is your home at? Is your home built in the culture, or is your home built in a forest? Is your home built on your own land where you don't have to be a part of culture at all? And yes, you have that right to not pay for anything. But if you're going to be a part of culture in any kind of way, then you have to pull your weight in some kind of way. It's culture is just like family. You know, if you have a family, the mother and father don't say, okay, children, you know, you've been born now, you're only 1 year old, but get out there and work because we need you to pay the bills. No, you know, they don't have to do that until because they're not reliable yet. But when they get to a certain age, then you say, okay, it's time for you to start pulling your weight. You know, you're up to a certain age now. It's time for you to start to pull your weight and help out. And so that's how culture is. Culture is a family, and you should want to help out if you're going to be a part of it.
Okay. So what about if you offer me help? You made mention of the child. I don't see the correlation because a child is a slave to their parent, and it's the parent's
Not
choice
really.
to bring the child. So let's say you offer me help, and I say no, I do not want to use your road, and I do not want to pay, because that is very clear. I want to find a way to go out of my house to come into my house. I'm guessing that is none of your business how I do that. All you care is I don't use your road or I don't use your driveway, anything like that. So that's what I'm saying. Would you allow me to keep my money
Yes,
to find a way?
I'm still agreeing with you. I
Okay.
do. I'm still Adam. I'm still agreeing with you. I'm just saying to you though, if your home or any part of your lifestyle is connected to culture in any kind of way or the society in any kind of way, then yes, you have to chip in. You have to chip in because you are a part of the culture. The only way you should not chip in is like what you're saying, like if you don't want to use the road or nothing like that, is if you have your own stuff separate from the culture. Your house is nowhere connected. No, it's not connected to the road. That's part of culture. Your driveway is not connected to the road. That's connected to the road, to the road. So as long as your stuff is not connected and you are sovereign, 100% sovereign from the culture, then no, you shouldn't have to pay. But if you have to use electricity, if you have to use water pumps, if you have to use water pipes to get water into your home from underground that you did not build yourself, and it's coming from the water system and things like that, then yes, you should definitely chip in because you're using something that's coming from the culture,
So
and you're
okay,
not really and you
Spark. So I know I get all that, but everything you mentioned, I can pay for myself. So I can pay for the water. I can pay for the electricity. The only thing I'm asking is I don't want you to force me to pay for that. I want to be able to do that myself. So
understand.
since
How would you pay for your water though, Adam? How does the water get into your home? Do you go to the ocean and bring the water back home and boil it, or is it coming out of your tap?
I can dig my well in my land. In fact,
Okay,
yeah, I can
okay,
dig my
that's
well.
sovereign.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's sovereign. That's what I'm saying. As long as you're sovereign and you're not using any part of
of
culture, you're
course,
not
of
using
course, of
cable,
course.
internet,
I
you see, right,
I,
then
I
yes, you
can't
are free from taxes.
I can't survive because if you allow me the freedom to use my own money, Sparks, I can get others that will build the road that I can pay them to use the road.
Hmm.
How I provide that is how I get it myself. It's not the problem. It's, for example, when you say, oh, we shouldn't free the slaves because once we free the slaves, we don't know if they are going to get a job. Whether or not they will get a job is not the question. The question is keeping slaves is immoral because you are keeping them against their wishes. And that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. Forget about how I will survive. Let's deal with the immorality of forcing me to pay for something you want.
I understand that, Adam. We're coming to 30 seconds close, and
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I completely understand where you're coming from. I do not agree, just to make it clear, I do not agree that someone has to pay for something they don't want to be a part of. But I do 100% agree that if you're going to be a part of a society or organization or a community, then you have to pull your weight in some kind of way, whether it's taxes or if you don't want to pay taxes, then go build stuff for free. But if you're going to be a part of culture, you have to help out.
I appreciate that, Swag. It's been a great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a nice day.